For a long time, society has focused its attention in the wrong place. Whenever the subject of homophobia arises, the spotlight turns almost immediately to the victim. We discuss the pain of those who suffer, the impact on the mental health of the LGBTQIA+ community, and the need for civil rights. All of this is vital, but by focusing only on the target, we commit a grave analytical error. We forget to place the microscope on the source of the shot. Today, we are changing that dynamic. We are not going to analyze homosexuality. We are going to analyze hostility. We're going to look at the neuroscience, sociology, and psychology behind the mind that hates. And what science reveals is both fascinating and tragic. Homophobic aggression is rarely about morality, religion, or family values. In the vast majority of cases, it is a clinical symptom of an internal collapse. To understand why hate persists, we need to dissect the aggressor's hardware. Homophobia is not a monolith. It is a sophisticated defense mechanism. Researcher Gregory M. Hirek, in his seminal paper, The Social Psychology of Homophobia Toward a Practical Theory, offers us a crucial theoretical foundation. Hirek argues that prejudice fulfills specific psychological functions for the individual who practices it. It serves as a shield against their own anxieties and identity conflicts, and it is precisely in this defensive function that we find the first great pillar of hostility, the internal war. Studies conducted by major institutions, such as the University of Rochester and the University of Essex, confirm empirical data regarding an old concept, projection. The research consistently indicates that individuals who rigidly identify as heterosexual, but who in implicit psychological tests demonstrate strong attraction to the same sex, tend to manifest the highest and most violent levels of homophobia. This is what psychology calls reaction formation. The individual lives with an unbearable conflict. They feel desires or curiosities they have been conditioned to believe are dirty, wrong, or dangerous. Because they lack the emotional tools to deal with this internal threat, they externalize it. They take the conflict consuming them from the inside and throw it outward. When a homophobe attacks someone on the street or online, they're not seeing a real person. The target is merely a blank screen upon which they project the horror movie playing on a loop inside their head. They attack in others the freedom they deny themselves. They assault in others the desire they repress within their own body with titanic force. Their violence is a desperate attempt to reaffirm their own masculinity or femininity, as if by destroying the mirror, they could make the reflection disappear. It is a battle where society becomes the war zone for a civil conflict happening within the aggressor's psyche. But reducing everything to biology or sexual repression would be simplistic. We need to talk about social conditioning, the faulty software installed in these minds. Hostility is frequently the result of an upbringing in authoritarian and rigid family environments, where affection was conditional and gender roles were strictly policed. For these people, diversity is not just a difference, it is an affront to the structure that promised them safety. They made an unconscious pact with society. I follow all the rules. I kill my impulses. I live inside this tight box. And in exchange, I am a good and safe person. Seeing someone live their truth freely generates unbearable cognitive dissonance. The courage of others offends their cowardice. Hate arises because the other person broke the rules the aggressor never had the guts to question. Moreover, there's the crystallization of historical stigmas. Fear has been manipulated and fused with moral prejudice, creating, especially in older generations, a subconscious association that diversity represents danger or disease. Here we reach a crucial point that differentiates common prejudice from deep-rooted phobia. There's a naive theory that prejudice stems solely from a lack of information. While true for many, for the defensive homophobe, the logic is reversed. They are not ignorant due to a lack of opportunity. They practice strategic ignorance. They purposely avoid contact, empathy, and humanizing the other. Why? Because humanizing the target would be dangerous. Humanizing would destroy the barrier that protects their fragile identity. They need the monster to continue feeling like the hero. Maintaining ignorance is an ego survival tactic. They prefer the darkness of the cave because the light would reveal that the monsters they fear don't exist, and that the only real monster is the prejudice they feed. So, what do we do with this information? Activism and science teach us that we cannot combat homophobia without understanding these pluralities. For society to move forward, healing comes through strategies like reverse mentoring, and crucially through the rise of vocal allies. We need leaders, parents, and heterosexual authority figures to dismantle these hostile environments. Public support from those outside the minority group has immense pedagogical power, validating LGBTQIA+ existence in the language that the conservative mind understands. But the most important lesson from this diagnosis serves us all. When we understand the pathology behind the hate, the power dynamic shifts. The scream of hate stops being a moral truth and is seen for what it really is, a scream of repressed pain, envy of another's freedom, and fear of their own shadow. We don't need a society with thicker skin to endure insults. We need a society with sharper vision, sensitivity, the capacity to love outside the boxes, and the courage to be authentic are not weaknesses. They are evolutionary superpowers. While the intolerant are trapped in concrete fortresses, policing each other and terrified of a slip-up that might reveal their flawed humanity, diversity stands in the open field. A healthy, well-adjusted brain does not obsess over the sexual lives of others. A healthy brain seeks connection, expansion, and complexity, not segregation and control. Their obsession is their confession. It is up to us as a society to stop accepting their projection as reality. We need to protect our energy, build healthy boundaries, and above all, honor the truth. Because in the end, the problem was never diversity. Diversity is not the error in the system. It is the evolution the system fears.